We have a book that is absolutely foundational, part of this presentation. The principles taught in here were based off this near 100-year-old book. A lot of the best books of our time are actually quite old, and a lot of new books are actually just repurposing old authors and old texts. And this book is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Has anybody read it? You've read it? A little bit? Okay. Heard of it? Okay. So both Danielle and I have read this, and it was very impactful for both of us. And why we're gifting you it is because it is a deeper expansion on many of the principles that we're about to teach you here. And so by gifting you it, you guys should read it. I know when you receive a gift in a book, I know not everybody may feel like they're a reader, but if you can resonate with these ideas, you'll be able to go deeper into them and yourself. You're welcome.
Thank you, man.
Very good manners, guys. Okay.
And if you're not a reader, because I'm personally not, actually, it's a rephrase.
Good. What do you prefer?
I prefer, well, Alexander taught me to enjoy reading more by reading the physical book and having the audio playing at the same time.
I do that sometimes.
Wow, what a game changer.
Yep.
Like, because I easily get distracted when I'm reading, and I start thinking, and then I'm like, wait, I have to read that whole page again. So, audio book, physical book, and a highlighter, and I've been like game changer. So, if you struggle to focus on a physical book, I definitely recommend
Absolutely.
reading along with an audio channel.
I've read nothing on a haze.
Yeah.
He read it to me.
Yeah. It's great when you have the author's voice.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go for about, it's going to be called intuitively as well, depending on when the best time to break is, but we're going to go for about 90 minutes here. It is absolutely paramount that you have your focus, and you have your focus, not just me. You have your focus in this room and what's being presented. I understand sitting for longer periods of time, you can start to daze and get distracted. Do the best you can. The temptation will be to, let me just do a little bit of work. Let me open up WhatsApp, respond to this message while maybe someone's talking, you're a bit distracted. I've seen people do this. Lockie did it one time, and I saw a little reflection in the mirror, and he was looking at pops. He was about to buy a pop, and I'm like, he didn't know I was looking at it while I was presenting. And I said, hey, that's a good one. You should get that one. And he got red in the face. He was embarrassed. It was a very funny moment. So I would have no problem exposing people if I catch Clem on a website that he shouldn't be. I'm playing. No, there's...
Sorry to butt in, but to build on that point, there's time that has been put into this presentation is very, very expensive. And it's not even about our time that we put into the presentation. That's not what it's about. What it's about is what you will get out of this. And if you really want to maximize this for yourself, stay focused. Have your phone on D&D. Try to, not look at anything else on your laptop but your Notion. Write notes. If anything calls out to you, write it down. Think about it. Because there's a lot of amazing learnings and key takeaways that you'll get out of this. So,
Thank you.
Just try to stay as focused as we can.
Yeah. And there has been an incredible amount of time, energy, and resources put into this. It's about 70 or so slides. We'll go over it over today and tomorrow. But all you guys need is one thing. Like if you just, let's say there's 5 hours of teaching. If you just take one thing, and that's a key thing for you to walk away with, that changes the way you approach life or your business or whatever it may be, amazing. So be patient with the process, and we'll start off with the question. As you've read, what holds you prisoner, yet offers you the key to break free, but is unseen to all. This is what's the word? not a fable, it's a riddle that I made.
You made it.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought, I don't know if this is maybe like a personal thing. I was once told that your biggest strength is also sometimes your biggest weakness.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing that I think about that is communication.
Okay.
So if you don't communicate, that can hold you prisoner.
Yeah.
It obviously is the key to break free.
Uh-huh.
You don't really see it. It's more of a hearing thing.
That
That's
is
my own take on it.
that is an answer.
That's a good answer.
That's technically is true.
Your thoughts?
Very close.
Your mind?
Yes. Correct. Let's see if I can get this up here. And if you wonder, all these images, they're all custom created by me with Midjourney. So these are all one of one, and tried to draw some attention to the visuals. So if you like them, that's where they're from. So this will be the center of the presentation, is unlocking this thing. It's the absolute thing that I've seen with all of you, every single Trinity student, every single client. I'll break it down. So I believe magic is real. I think magic is real within all of us. I think magic is not what's in circuses or what's in,
You're a wizard, Harry.
yes, it's beyond that. You guys all possess a power within you, and unlocking that changes the absolute trajectory of your life and everybody you interact with. Now, when I say things like, what if magic was real, when I talk about the power of the mind, is anyone skeptical? You know, I just want to get an honest show of hands. You don't need to talk about it too deeply, but is anyone skeptical of like, oh, like I think Mal was talking about it the other day, like, is anyone kind of skeptical? Like, oh, this whole power of the mind stuff.
I think I was, but probably in the last 12 to 18 months, I've definitely changed my mindset around it.
Okay. That's good. So you can be more open to this. Anybody?
I definitely was.
Was?
Yeah, definitely.
Still a little bit?
Probably still elements to it, but more open.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I just want to know so I know how to communicate to you guys. I think, Sim, you were probably on the other end, right? Yeah, you like supernatural magic is real, right? Cool.
I think when others talk about their experiences, I somehow believe them when they talk about it, but I don't think I've experienced it fully to myself yet. So, yeah, I haven't experienced it personally.
Okay.
I hope yet.
You believe other people's experiences, but it's not something that you've personally had much experience with. Is that right?
Yeah, at least my interpretation of this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the context for me.
Yep.
My partner, like, she cleanses the house for like spirit and stuff,
Yep.
and she's had like sleep paralysis and stuff. But I personally never experienced anything of the sorts. Like if a door like closes, something like, oh, it's the wind.
Hmm.
Maybe like a light turns, I'm like, oh, it's electrical faulty. Like, I don't know. I think I'm more logical thinking in that sense.
We have ghosts at work.
So like, I have resistance to that. I have resistance to that for sure.
Okay, that's okay. Good to know. All right. It's an analogy that might be helpful for you guys. Hardware is like the physical laptop, right? The software is the program that runs it. A Notion, the software, the laptop's the hardware. So your mind, just to conceptualize it, is the software that, your mindset is the software to which the hardware of your body operates. Just to conceptualize it. Especially when you communicate with clients. Everything you're going to be taught here is not just for yourself, it's also for your clients, your business, and your life. And it will inform for some of you, how you bring up your children. This is what I believe. What's your thoughts? They become? You guys are right. There's a few more steps. They become your words. What's your words? They become your... Good. What's your actions? They become your habits. What's your habits? They become your character, who you are. What's your character? It becomes your character. Kind of is your personality. There's one more. It's bigger.
Identity.
That's good too. That's accurate too. Destiny, future. So we started with thoughts, and we end up with your entire future. This is why we're talking about the mind here and psychology. When you guys see these emojis, this is one to write about. When you see the hand in the brain, it's writing, and this is, we'll talk about it. So, question for a couple of you. I would like you guys to now write. Doesn't need to be too long, just a few moments, few minutes. What thought have you had, or thoughts have you had that have become your reality and destiny? You can take it back. You can do it when you're young. It can be recent. And when someone is ready to share, I invite you to. Anybody like to share? That's okay. I'm very patient. Gracias.
One thought that I've been having since I was a kid was I didn't want to live in Peru.
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
yeah, right now I'm here,
Yeah.
made it. Another one is going to be that I will have an amazing partner, and I feel like that's also done. That's a reality. And also like because there's some positive side, it's like a negative side that thought can lead to bad stuff. So for example, I remember when I was like 12 years old, 13 years old, I was very jealous of my mom because she was giving attention to her work or her like my cousin. So I was like, oh, I wish I had a disease. I wish I had some type of disease. And then 3 years later, I had cancer.
Really?
Yeah, that's something that I don't share like that much, but
Wow.
I still remember that I was thinking one day, I wish I had like some type of cancer that wouldn't take any part of my body. And like, yeah. And I was like very like, I was a kid, you know, I didn't know what I was saying. But then, yeah.
So you had that thought because naturally a part of you was seeking attention and love from your mother that was going elsewhere. Is that right? And obviously, if someone's really sick, they would get attention and love and support. And then you ended up getting sick.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have a history of cancer in your family?
Well, not until like I had it. Like when I had my symptoms, that same year my aunt got cancer.
Oh, okay.
She died 2 weeks before I got diagnosed.
Wow.
Yeah, a very short time.
But before that, no one knew.
No.
Do you think that your thoughts at the time created part of that, or no?
I didn't like I thought it, but I also like manifested it. I think I remember like I was crying and I was like saying it like out loud to myself,
Saying what out loud?
like, oh, I wish I had this.
Oh yeah, you were saying that out loud before you got it.
Yeah,
Do you believe
100%.
that contributed to manifesting that?
Yeah. So you can like, your thoughts can lead to good stuff or else
Yeah.
bad stuff.
Thank you for sharing that. No stress. Wow. I'll let maybe if anyone else wants to share anything.
I know for me, like work-wise, as a young kid, I never really dreamed of being an athlete or anything, just being in sports. I was like, that's not common for kids at least. And my thing was just, I'm going to get paid to be in sports, but not as an athlete. Like that sort of from a young age. So like, I don't know what it was going to be, but
Right.
just something not as an athlete.
Yeah.
And
And you are.
then I am,
Here we are. Congratulations, Branson. Yes. I'll leave space for maybe if someone has something particularly powerful. I want to give space if anyone wants to share. Otherwise, we can move. Yeah.
Kind of building on Jimenez's point about partners, I remember probably 4 weeks before I met Liam, I wrote down a very specific list of things that I wanted, and I
Yeah.
was like, I will not accept anything other than this, and forgot about it. And then I met Liam, and as I got to know him, I was like, oh, what was that list that I wrote? Where was it? So I found it, and I was like, oh my god, I like literally manifested this man into my life.
Wow. That's beautiful. I think we know a little bit of something about that.
I was saying to, just before that, there's a lot of similarities in like the story.
Mm.
Like, wow, I'm like, I actually really resonate
Yeah.
with how you two came about. I was
Yeah.
like, that's me and Liam.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, like we said, your thoughts become your destiny. Did you want to share anything quickly on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Us, right?
Yeah.
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 I was like totally fine with being single for a while. I'd only had one relationship and that happened when I was 26, so later. And I was cool being independent, not having kids, and I just sat with myself and wrote out a list. If I were to find someone, it's never been a mission to find someone or be in a relationship, but if I were to find someone, what would I want out of the relationship? What could I give to the person? What could the person give to me? And like you, Steph, I wrote a list and it was very specific. A couple of things were travel the world together, run and own a successful business and collaborate with my partner, which we're doing. Obviously physical traits as well, but you know, a big heart. Just someone who's kind, empathetic, understanding, patient, and like you, Steph, forgot about it. And I just turned all of that love that I wanted in the relationship, I turned it inward. I thought about that relationship that I did want, and then it came to life about 6 months later, which is just wild. Because I was okay not having that, but that's what I essentially, that would have been my ideal or my perfect relationship if I was lucky enough or blessed enough to have something like that. And yeah, every box is ticked.
And I literally said, I was like, you know what, if I'm single for the rest of my life, I'll be happy as well.
Yeah,
And I was like, I don't care.
I was okay with that.
Well,
So crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
And thank you. I also wrote my own list, and it aligned extremely well with this beautiful woman who came into it. And I actually wrote that list, to be honest with you. I wrote that list once in the realization of my past relationship about what I really wanted and who I wanted to be and what I wanted to receive, and the ways that wasn't the case in the past. And I realized that from my past, and I wrote that list, and it was very confronting to realize what I didn't have. And then I read that out loud. It was one of the many things that I read out loud to myself every single day, every single morning. It was one of the components of this auto-suggestion, which I'll explain later, this list that I wrote out and I read every single day. And then Danielle comes into my life, and we come into each other's lives, and then I reflect on that. I'm like, oh, that's her. So I don't believe that's an accident. To give you some more evidence, I have a big sample size, pretty meaningful sample size. And so I think it should carry some weight. I want it to carry some weight for you guys, that in my observation of everything I've seen, some of the, not just university, not just formal study, not just research, but like humans, like seeing humans and having, I don't know how many conversations, thousands of conversations. There's two things that if I could give you guys to understand to help communicate and coach is people's mind and their environment. This is beyond nutrition, this is beyond training, this is beyond sleep, functional medicine, business, money, all of it. It is all governed in everything I've seen by mind and environment. And if you guys can let that be a leading indicator for yourselves and for your clients, your ability to get results with yourself and your clients will dramatically improve. Mind and environment. And look at the environment we're in. Right, you see? Pretty different. Pretty uplifting. And it's particularly profound with you guys, the OGs, you guys, and why it's particularly profound is because you guys are desiring the most and have the most demands on your mind and environment. You're not just here for money or business. You're not just here for skill set. You're here for the whole thing. And so you must have your mind on your side. And that's one reason we're starting with this. Mind and environment, just framing the conversation here. So the intentions of today. When you do a presentation, you should always talk about what people can expect. And two parts, a deep desire, and to understand intimately the hell that your life could be if you do not do and do not become what you say you want to become. Awareness. Carl Jung, one of a very famous psychoanalysts, said, one of my favorite quotes, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What this means is that, you know how people say, oh, it just happened. It's just the way it is. They kind of succumb to life and they just think things are the way they are. And a lot of people's life is not what they could be because they live very unawarely, unconsciously. And until you make that unconscious conscious, let's say the programming from growing up, until you make that conscious, you will be like a feather in the wind being directed by life, being directed by this programming, the conditioning that you've grown up with. So bringing awareness to that. Unlearn, like the question we had last night, things that are secretly harming you. And this is big, rewire your language and self-talk. A lot of the OGs make jokes about this. My clients, you know, they really understand this, and I've picked it up with some of you, but we're going to go deep into it. Hey?
I feel like I always say the worst things and I'm like, oh.
Well, hey, it's good. At least you're aware. That's good. Okay, we can work with that. We will. We'll do everybody. You and your clients. Okay. So this is not just for you. We're going to start the first component with desire. A deep passion, obsessive want turned into an unshakable need. And the analogy is like it's like a fire. And you all have different levels of desire. Some of you can observe it in you. You observe it in people who have great fire within them. And one of our goals is to unlock that within you. Because if you do not have this, then how can you overcome the greatest challenges in front of you? And another great quote to frame this is, a lot of you and a lot of your clients, they just want things. You just want something. Oh, I want this, I want that. You're probably not going to get what you want, at least not in the way you want it. You get what you have to have. What you have to have. You don't get what you want, you get what you have to have. Because if you have to have it, the actions that you will do, if you have to do it, I had to move to New York. I don't care. I was going to move there. Money, logistics, finish this degree, whatever. Have to. You moving to Australia, you had to. It wasn't a want. Was it a want? Or like where was it on this? Maybe. Right. So if you just want some of the, like, I just want like 20 clients or 15 clients or 100K or make this impact or what else? Like I kind of just, I want to be a coach. I want to be a great coach. It's great you want to be a coach, but do you have to be? Because your actions are going to be very different depending on where you are here. And if you come to me at the end of this retreat and say, actually, I don't really want this. I want to be a zoologist. I'd be like, I would be happy with that. And you go be a zoologist, and it would be a bit sad that you might leave, but at least you're doing what you have to do and what is truly in your heart. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. Anybody want to be a zoologist? No. Yeah, animals are beautiful. Another question. What's the strongest desire you've had in your life to achieve, do, or become something, and why was it so strong? Perhaps it's something now, perhaps it was something in the past. Take some moments to write and reflect on this, and then we'll share. And whoever would like to share first can.
I remember just before I got into the fitness industry, this was like coming out of COVID, and I was working at a local chicken shop that I fucking hated. And I was getting paid like $10 an hour, and it was like the worst. I was working like 40-hour weeks, 30-degree heat. It was like 32 degrees in the shop, and I was like, I have to. And I went for the roller training day. I was like, I have to get this job. I'm like, I have to get my foot in the door, because if I don't, I feel like, you know, a loser. And I feel like I haven't amounted to anything, and like my friends at this point have started to finish their degrees or blah blah blah. I was like, I have to get this, or else I'm just don't know what my next step is going to be. I got it, which was good. And now it's funny because now I have a strong desire to move out of the role that I'm in now. I'm like, okay, well I have to be a coach, and then what's it going to take to be a coach? Well, anything that it takes really. So it's funny because I begged for that job, and now I'm like, I don't want the job anymore.
But what's great is that at least you prove to yourself that through a strong desire and a need, like a have to have, that you can do it. And you can do it again and again and again. And you will. You are.
I am.
Branson, you're going to say?
So for me, the first one that came up was applying for a research scholarship. So for me, I hated reading, and all through my bachelor's, I didn't read a single book, even through school and all that. And so the idea of me applying for research, that there was some monetary benefit if I got the position, but everything, that even if there was no money, everything that came along with it, with connections and project management skills, having to read and also look at research, do my own research, everything like that I normally wouldn't have done by choice. I just felt like this deep desire of like, no, I've got to at least just try and get this sort of position. seeing that there was only two people that would get accepted for it, I was like, look, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I would regret it a lot if I didn't even try. Even though that would have been comfortable because I didn't like doing anything that came with that world of academia. And then ended up getting it, and that sort of started. That was like just as I was looking into getting the business started for myself and the coaching. So it really was a big pivot point, getting me out of my current job, which was just like delivering catalogs and that sort of stuff. That was just keeping me on the side. So.
And there's only 2 spots. Is that what you said? And you got one of them.
Yep.
Well done. That's no easy task.
Which obviously coincided of the last thing I mentioned about being in sports. It was probably that sort of moment of not just doing volunteer work that I was like, okay, this is something.
That's right. Well done. One more person want to share?
Yeah, I'll share.
Thanks, Clem.
I was stranded in a town in Perth, and then I need to get to the next town to get to the bus. So I had to hitchhike. I had no other option. The other option was to wait 8 hours in a town, which I was like, that's scared, I don't want to do that. So I approached 20, 25 people, and I was like praying to God. I was like, I'm not religious, but I was like, God, please fucking help me.
Yeah.
I need to get out of here. And I walked up to this guy in a truck, and I was like, hey man, you going to Perth? And he's like, yeah. So he gave me a ride. So that was the strongest desire I've ever had.
Really? Because it can be quite daunting to be stranded in the middle of nowhere. Like there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And you just approach 20, 25 people.
Yeah, it's so awkward.
And we talked about prospecting, which for those who aren't familiar, for Clem, if you work in a gym, you prospect, you just go up to people, you meet them, you get to know them, and you help them, right? And we talk about that and approaching people. And I wonder if you approached the hitchhiking with the same level of, the prospecting with the same level of vigor and enthusiasm and need to have as you did going up to people in the gym and trying to help them. Imagine if you could harness and tap into that, because you've already had a version of that desire.
Yeah.
All right. Just to frame this, I don't know if any of you have a limiting belief that maybe you are born the way you are and there's not much you can do to change it, but there absolutely is. I'm an example of that. The person in front of you I wasn't like this when I was younger. I wasn't like this when I was I had to develop myself into this person that you see in front of you. And that's what we're doing here. This is a rhetorical question. This is from Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Anybody read it? Yeah, you really want to understand desire through the harshest of life, then Viktor Frankl is a Holocaust survivor, and he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And I think it's probably it's a book that definitely moved me. If I could recommend a book alongside this one, that would be up there. And his famous quote is, is a version of this. How can you create a strong enough desire to bear almost any how? Okay? And the how would be like, oh, how am I going to do this? What about this obstacle, this challenge, that challenge, money, fear? How am I going to overcome that? Okay. For your clients, for yourselves. So, here's this. This is the why. And that's his quote. Those who have a why can bear almost any how. Now, who has their journal from yesterday? Yeah, you got it? Can you just read out the 2 questions? Mate, I'm just looking at you, Clem, because you have it in front of you. Can you read out the 2 questions that we posed yesterday?
It was why did I choose this job?
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was why am I here?
Mm-hmm. Both whys.
That's definitely mine.
That's your ring?
That's definitely mine. It's a
It's an alarm.
Before you tell me to do something for my life,
Thanks, Rob.
that's probably like exact meal prep and shit.
Thanks, Rob.
It is.
So, does anybody not feel that? Does anybody a bit challenged or sometimes struggle to connect to their why? Of why they do what they do? Was it difficult for anybody writing yesterday or even in our first conversations when I first met you?
I think environment plays a big factor into my why.
Uh-huh.
Like I kind of lose a little bit of my why when I'm sitting at a desk with my
Yeah.
manager or whatever saying something that I'm like, this
Yeah.
is so stupid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, that also like feels me in other ways. Like I'm gonna get out of here.
Right.
But in this, I'm like, I feel so connected to my why.
Yeah.
Like, because we're all here. We're
That's
all
right.
like the same trajectory that we want to kind of go. So I think environment definitely has, for me at least, a very big impact. When I'm with Liam and his best friend Richard, they are like you, have business and sold. They're very focused and driven, and when I'm with them, I'm like, okay, I know my why because they know their why. They're confident in their
It's
why.
contagious.
Yeah, it's contagious. But when you're also around people who don't have that, that's also contagious.
That's right. That's it.
So I think environment, yeah.
And that's when you coach your clients, you have to analyze their environment because you can make the best program, nutrition, supplements, plan, strategies, and if their environment is one where they're in a damaging, unhealthy relationship, living at home and there's abuse or just a lot of difficulty, whatever the case may be, they're doing a job that really sucks their soul, then okay, yes, you're going to help them with training and health, and you're going to find month after month, why is this person struggling so much? You know, it's happened with some of you. Like there's challenges that we go through, and there's this environment piece. And if you don't touch on that, it will be harder for you and them. So that's a great comment, Steph. So this is why I touch on it so much with you. When you're connected to your why, you can bear almost any how. There's something I'm going to do with you guys that's going to help you stay consistent with tapping into that during those times where it's like, I'm doing this job, I'm doing this thing, it's hard, I'm kind of forgetting my why. I'm going to help solve that. And one way to do that, by the way, is pretty cool. I think it's a really cool image. It's like the depiction of heaven and hell. And so we're going to do an exercise that, well, actually, I'll explain as we go. What we're going to go through here is quite powerful. It's something that I do with a lot of my clients. I'm going to show you a demonstration of it live in a call. And it is depicting the worst and the best of what your life could look like. So have a little title for yourself, Heaven and Hell. And it's going to this is something you can do with your clients. You will do with select people, ideally as many of them as you can and see fit. And it's going to get you to seriously contemplate your future in both the best and worst case scenarios. When people are very stuck, and I haven't done this with them, this is what I call to. When you or your clients stray off the path, maybe it's with some destructive habits, maybe it's with just not doing what you need to be doing. Your ability to get back on that path as quickly as possible, even avoid getting on it, will be partly significantly dictated by your connection to your future self and connected to this image of what your life could be.
Is presentness a word?
Presentness? I believe that's a word. If not, I've decided it's a word.
I like that.
Yes.
I make up words all the time.
Yes. Create your language and reality. This is a question, so I would write this down because this is framing that I give to my clients. Now this is something you can send or say to your clients, but I'll also give you more framework. What do you think your life would look like if you did or do achieve X and committed to doing what you were doing for the next Y time frame? Most people just stop here. And then it's simply the opposite. What happens if you didn't? And particularly, if you let your bad habits run you. Or at least you stay doing what you were doing. You should be sufficiently inspired by a beacon of light and also sufficiently terrified and fearful of the worst things that can happen. And you use them in polarity. You use them. You're not trying to be fearless. I think that's another psyop. I think that's another thing to unlearn, to not experience fear. I don't think this is possible. You must use it. And this is something you can put into your initial consultations, your mindset roadmap call. And this is one reason I think people should pay meaningful amounts of money for your consultations, is because you're taking them through an exercise that has deep roots in clinical psychology and it has the potential for very powerful effects for long-lasting identity and habit change. And so you might spend 20 minutes on this on a call. You should. I'll give it 5-10 more seconds, take another glance if you need, or a photo. Or I can send you a screenshot, just ask me. So I thought I would show you an example of me doing this and walking a client through a heaven and hell exercise. Before we do it, now I'm going to play it on a faster speed here. Hey, what did you say?
I said, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
2x.
Yeah, if you guys can stand it.
You look bulked up there.
Yeah, I am. Definitely am. So, learning by demonstration, seeing something that, like, people don't see this. Like, you don't get a chance to see your mentors or coaches' coaching calls. And so I'm lifting the veil and showing you guys what hopefully is something, what will be very insightful, hopefully to all of you. And then you can see how to do it for your own clients. So, this client, just to frame it, had been really struggling with behavior change. And it'd be up and down, up and down, up and down. And you're going to find some of your clients are going to be up and down, up and down. It can frustrate you. Some of you may have already experienced it. And so this is me dedicating an entire call to this, and you can see it play out here.
Aunties, uncles.
Yep.
Do you have grandparents over there?
No.
So aunties, uncles, cousins, that's it?
Yeah, like intermediate family, aunties, uncles, cousins.
Okay. Let's say
That she could walk, just like I'm going to with you guys, because I don't have to live your life. I don't have to live her life. You don't live your client's lives. Only I'm getting her to see the potential future, because to get her connected to her future self, to drive change.
So when you say the hell part, it's heaven and hell. It's not the heaven number, it's that's avoiding the pain.
Really, you guys are humans, right? And all humans are messy. And I can set up what I believe to be the perfect environment for you guys to succeed, and some of you still may be challenged and it might take a few goes at it. Same with clients. So, results is really the cleanest answer. So, I'm just going to skip ahead here.
Let's say
the TDS. We'll have a nice feedback right there.
as long as you see it, visual, do that. And then maybe on your fridge.
Yeah.
So coaching with me. Would you go back to PNG?
So notice how I'm asking her, like I'm playing it out. Like, what would happen if this happened, okay? This is what you do with clients. You play it out. What would happen if some of these bad habits took control? PNG is where she's from.
If that would have happened, probably not, unless someone, I had to go for a funeral. That's literally the only reason I would go, if I was in that state, I think.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you, you said that if things got a bit worse, which is where things can go, right?
Yeah.
You would not travel back to PNG. You would not see cousins, sister, uncles, aunties, family, until someone died. Okay. So now you have to ask you.
So this is if she didn't achieve her body composition goals because she was very self-conscious and her family judges her for that. So we identified that family was a root and a strong driver for her of why she did what she did. So we identified her why, and then we were using that to create a fire, create a desire, create a heaven and hell.
If that reality panned out, how do you feel about that?
That'd be really sad.
This sounds like a dumb question almost to ask. Like, how would you feel like if you didn't go see your family? Like, isn't that obvious? You don't know what emotions they would feel. Don't assume. You want to understand them. So you ask the obvious questions and you need them to speak it out loud.
Situation now, how am I going back because I'm unhappy? Like, it would just make me even more sad.
Okay, so what? You'd be sad. Like, you can live with sadness, can't you?
Now, I don't think almost any of you are asking questions like this. Like, okay, so you'll be sad, you'll be depressed. Yeah, you won't achieve that. Who cares? I can't care more for you guys. I can't care more for this client than this client will care for herself. So, okay.
I think it would just really rock me if that happened.
Okay.
It would really be tough.
Meaning if someone died, when someone died, you hadn't gone over before then to see them?
Yeah.
And how do you think it would rock you? What do you mean by that?
I would just feel regret.
I'm going deeper.
Like lots of regret.
So you're saying that for you to go home, for you to feel comfortable going home, you, Tiana, have to be a healthier, mentally, physically version of yourself. And if you don't, you're not going to fly home unless it's a death.
Yeah, most likely.
So I'm clarifying.
I know it's.
And that in the event when someone dies, next week, next year, whenever,
Mm.
you will be filled with sadness, you'll be rocked, filled with regret.
Yeah,
And then what?
I'm sure.
Okay. You think I would change you as a person at all?
I think it would. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can you think how?
Like I said, I would just be like sad and regretful and remorseful, and just would be a good time.
So there's most likely one of two scenarios that's going to happen here. You will either wait for the regret, because regret like that, sadness like that is a very powerful motivator. You'll either wait for the regret of a loved one who you didn't get to visit, and you wait for that time. Okay. And then you'll be like, oh my god, I get it now. I do change.
Yeah.
Or you may spiral a little bit and move into gluttony and self-indulgence and feel bad for yourself and go through most. Or you realise that a inevitable future is guaranteed unless you change and do what you need to do now.
Yeah.
So I'm getting her to see the paths that she could walk, just like I'm going to with you guys. Because I don't have to live your life. I don't live her life. You don't live your clients' lives. Only you. I'm getting her to see the potential future, because to get her connected to her future self, to drive change.
So when we say the hell path, it's heaven and hell. It's not the heaven and hell, really, that's avoiding the pain. So what we do with all of this is if your family really means that much to you, Tiana, we're about to find out.
Yeah.
Okay? I've realised that you're actually not doing, like, you doing this for you is not yet enough of a motivation and a inspiration for you.
No, she agrees.
Okay, it's actually most people. They're not really doing it 100% for them.
No.
I don't work because I work just for me, so I can like have this view. I'm here to share lives, I'm here to provide, I'm here to save my future family. I'm here so I can have experience with my parents, my father especially, who dies because he's overweight, he smokes.
And now I'm being vulnerable.
And I want to be able to open up doors and opportunities for him.
Yeah.
Because his family and his children are the joy of his life. And I want to give him more joy before he dies. If I don't know if he's going to die next week or in 5 years, or 10 years, I know it's probably not too long.
Yeah, right.
And that's just one of the many that I have. So I have this virtually unlimited raw whatever fuel I can pull out. Okay? You have a bit of Charlie, but really the main thing here for you is going to be family.
Yeah.
For me, it's in me. For you, we need to see it, to have constant reminders, because it's easy to forget because they're far. So, I want you to think here and tell me what are some reminders that you can put in your environment where you're most frequent, work, home, phone, etc. Body to remind you of who and what you're really doing this for.
Yeah. I think definitely like pictures. I can put pictures in frames, put them around the apartment. Managing my phone, it's like with things like putting the wallpaper on my phone, so when I open it, I see them. Those are two reminders I can have like visually. What else? I'm not too sure what else.
Do you have any sentimental items?
What was that?
Do you have any sentimental items?
Yeah, I have lots of things with P&G that I have around, like treats and stuff like that. So they're there, but maybe I have other things close to that.
You won't need it until 2:30, by the way. Are you thinking it'll take like 30, 40 minutes?
20 minutes stayed up. I still have to play every single one.
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah, I'm just checking.
I'm not gonna put them in until 2:10.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Favourite friends, favourites, we've got the wallpaper on front, motive. And then we have emotive photos, physical photos, that I want to put up.
So I'm walking her through, right? I'm going to do it with you guys. I'm walking her through a symbol she can create. So this is kind of answering the question for you, Steph. It's like I'm sitting at the desk, nursing, teaching. What's going to be the reminder? Yeah, Riley.
I was gonna say like her desire still doesn't seem like super high.
Is it because you're not seeing too much emotion from her?
Yeah.
It's also a bit of her personality as well. You know, you're someone who can speak with a lot of passion and conviction. Some people's temperament is just a bit lower.
How can you tell that that's like things have landed? Because obviously you'll try and get to a certain point where you're like, it's landed.
Yeah.
How can you tell that that has?
So first you have to analyze like what's a normal baseline for the person in themselves. But this isn't normal bandwidth for her. This is not. I don't need a lot of enthusiasm.
She's receptive.
She is. She's very present. She's receptive. How you can see if it lands is, do you see the result? It's gonna be a delay. Weeks and months ahead. I don't trust people's immediate conviction. Even you guys. Really, you guys are humans, right? And all humans are messy. And I can set up what I believe to be the perfect environment for you guys to succeed, and some of you still may be challenged and it might take a few goes at it. Same with clients. So, results is really the cleanest answer. So, I'm just going to skip ahead here.
The TV is on the sleep like that.
You can see it visually, do that, and then maybe on the fridge.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just teasing it out, all right? I'm spending time creating visual reminders.
Definitely a bedside table. Like I have
And I'm asking her to,
Yeah.
like details.
Yeah.
So one day, it just fell off today.
Yeah.
And those reminders in your environment, they're there to cue you, to remind you who you're doing this for. Because it just seems like maybe you just have forgotten or you just don't think about it as much. That's okay, it happens. But now, when you bring that to awareness and you're like, not about you, it's about them.
Yeah.
You are robbing them of beautiful, cherished moments and experiences that they won't get to have if you keep going where you're going.
Yeah.
This is on 2 times speed. Look how long I'm pausing.
Yeah, good. I feel like speaking about it just brings it to the forefront of my mind. Like I feel more motivated than I was before this to do something.
And I need to be clear, I know I don't say the intentional word, but this is going to be beyond motivation.
Yeah.
So motivation is typically a clean feeling. And looking at these photos will give you a spur of motivation, but it will also remind you of the person and the past. Every time you look at those photos, you're going to make a decision to be with Tiana that's going to have a happy, rich and beautiful life. It's going to go to PNG 5-10 times over the next 5-10 years. Or one filled with regret, sadness, and wait for someone to die before she sees it.
Yeah.
Just grabbing her neck.
That future
It's a little uncomfortable.
and feel so much pain for you to avoid it happening.
Yeah. But I don't even think about it like that. But like even thinking about it now, it's just like making me uncomfortable. Even thinking about it.
I actually didn't know that she was going to say that. I completely forgot.
Watching the times when you might feel it off. And you can revisit this. Because now that feeling, it's going to tap into that feeling. Anytime you feel like not doing anything you need to do, you tap into that feeling. You remember, close your eyes to this conversation, these moments. And you think, okay, what's harder? What's worse? Sadness, regret, my family not seeing me, having those memories with me, and dying a little bit empty because Kiana wasn't in their life as much. Or Netflix. Social media. Not going to the gym. Like what's more
Those are the habits she was doing.
the gym? Being healthy? Like it really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah. And like that's the thing, when I go home, like I feel like it puts me, like it puts everything into perspective. That's why I'm saying like I feel super grounded when I go home. And it's tough, like I need to go home, but I'm just, I don't want to, that makes sense. But yeah, so it puts everything into perspective is what I'm trying to say. When I go home. Like it really keeps me up the arse and be like,
Right. So you just need to place your mind there without being.
yeah.
So when you close your eyes and go there, I can do that like, when you go.
Okay. There's an example. Any questions or comments on that?
I like how you weighed up the, would you rather Netflix or like seeing, like doing this?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It almost sounds kind of.
Like this is obviously it's fucking stupid. Like why would you do Netflix over like someone dying?
But say people, yeah, right. But people don't think about this. They just, guys, just, hey,
They just live their
that's
life.
right, unconsciously. And so part of your jobs as coaches is to bring that to light, to lift the veil. And I do that with you guys, right? And you'll get greater results if you can tap into it with your clients. So, anything else?
So, in that specific example, what is the hell that she, I guess, the hell is her going back?
Not going back.
Not going back.
That's right.
Or only having to go back
When someone dies.
that happens and feeling that regret.
That's right. Good. I'm glad you're clarifying. The hell is the potential regret. The hell is not creating those memories with her family. And some of that can be relatable to you guys, is around family. So yeah. It's regret, it's and family, around family.
So in the end, obviously I'm assuming that was filmed quite some time ago.
Yeah, quite a while ago.
Did she end up actually achieving what she wanted to, or close to?
Well, shortly after, not too long after, she actually stopped coaching with me. She's made some pretty meaningful changes in her life. Like her job was an environment change that she needed to change. And since then, she actually quit her job, right? Which is really, really great for her and her well-being. And so it's actually something I'll need to get back to you on, to check where her health status is at.
But even that itself, the fact that she took action and changed her job,
Yeah.
I can imagine she's obviously she's away from home, so in a different country. I imagine leaving stability
Yeah.
to change, even that itself is a pretty substantial change.
I appreciate you acknowledging that. It absolutely is, because that was a big limiter for her. And she said to her boyfriend, which I coach, she wouldn't have changed her jobs if we didn't have those conversations. I didn't push her. So, and that's obviously, who is it? With some of you guys. I think, Sim, we were talking about this maybe, I can't remember. Yeah, today or last evening, is that creating the environment and pushing you to move away from teaching? It's something you want to do.
Yeah.
But is this something you have to do? But what was the quote we said earlier before, though?
Need to. Have to.
You get what you have to have.
He says, yeah, of course, oh, let me have a blah, blah, blah. But I think we should ask him. I heard we asked him. And yet, that.
Yeah.
Do you ask him?
I can't remember what I was referring to. That was the start. Yeah. You don't get what you want, you get what you have to have. This is a short one. Just a few minutes. The point is, I'm just trying to demonstrate the exercise of how to do it and how to communicate it.
Upgrade in camera quality.
Yeah. Hey?
Upgrade camera.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can see me come a long way. The lighting wasn't good in that one. So.
Do you want half of this?
Oh, thank you, man. It's okay. Yeah, I'd rather, if someone else wants it, I'd rather someone else get caffeine. Does anybody want any? Do you want anyone want the 200 milligram capsules of caffeine? 200 milligram capsules of caffeine. Okay. Riley, could you?
No, I still want that.
Riley, do you mind grabbing also the little capsules up there on the bench? Thank you. Yep. You gonna come join us, Mel? Okay. That's for you guys.
You don't want?
Take it.
What is it? Literally is caffeine.
Yep.
One of those.
I want you guys as highly caffeinated as possible,
Yeah, what I'm saying.
within your range. Within your range.
So you don't want caffeinated ADHD.
That should have
Just beneath the range that doesn't have you. What happens? Yeah. Well, if it helps you focus.
I actually
Hey?
I get like migraines and I have to go to bed
Mm.
if I have too much.
All right. Let's stay within your range.
Yeah.
I had when I was at Clean Health Live, I had like 4 new tonics in one morning,
Damn.
and I don't know what's in that jungle juice, but I was like the most focused I've ever been in my life.
That's great.
Couldn't sleep that night because I had way too much caffeine, but I was like, it's the cognizant or something in it.
Yeah. All right. Maybe you need some new tonic. All right. We're good? Back? Come back to me, guys.
Why is this so important to you, Alana? Like you don't have to do this. You don't have to spend your time, your money, your energy. Why is it so important to you that you make these improvements and changes like this?
I mentioned this point briefly yesterday. I think because, like right now, I'm not really good.
Turn the volume up a little bit.
Yeah, I have to slow it down because her audio isn't as good. But try in the subtitles.
But I keep thinking, like, what if I get to the end of my life, no that, and I'm like, I have a life, and I'm like, you know, I just think, like, I never actually finished my certification, I never, like, exercised that, and I never found that, like, I'm happy to get to that, or get to an age where I'm like, I miss, like, my prime years, and where I can be, like, the ultimate version of myself, and I miss that, you know, and I had nervous that I'm not going to, like, grasp that opportunity, and I feel like I'm at that age now where I feel like, if I don't do it now, I'm really going to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel, so I'm kind of like, I'm almost scared myself to go, fuck, I need to do something, like, you know, I don't want to be very simple.
I need to do something. Need. Not want. Need. And notice the pattern? What's the emotion there? Regret. What did you hear before?
Regret.
Anybody feel that? You're trying to avoid regret? Of course. You are human. You want to avoid regret.
That's very good, and I'm glad you did that because we need to be sufficiently terrified of the worst version of ourselves, hell, like the worst path.
Yeah.
And you're running away from that path towards into like the negative, the evil, the hell.
Yeah.
And then you need to be sufficiently inspired to aim upwards towards good, which is like the analogy is heaven.
Yeah.
So there's 2 paths you have, Alana said. You can go, if you do nothing, and you're like, oh man, you know what? Right? You go down that path.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Which
So-
is what I've always done.
And what does that, what do you think that person could look like and feel like if you did go down that path? The path you're afraid of, what does that vividly look and feel like?
It literally just like looks like this, but worse. Like it looks like what I am, but worse. And the thought of like when I imagine like myself not ever coming off these meds, like not ever like
Meds, medication.
working up and things like that. You know, like it looks like this, but worse.
Good. Now, what does the opposite look like? What is...
Okay. I could have gone to more detail. I believe I got her to write it down at a later date. I sent her a message and she wrote some details, but we've tapped into regret and her state of her health, which I previously articulated before, but much worse. Never getting off meds. Regret. 5-10 years later, worse. Thoughts or questions or comments?
Same question. How does she go afterwards?
I think quite good actually. It was a couple of years ago, but she got off. I believe she got off the meds and got out of a relationship that wasn't good for her. And was healthier. That's what I remember. It's a few years ago though, so I don't remember all the details. Your turn. Your turn. I can send you guys this. This is from, anyone know Jordan Peterson, the clinical psychologist? Okay, so this is part of his future authoring program. Anybody ever done that? No? Okay. So this is how he articulates the heaven, the ideal future version of yourself, which I can put in the Discord. Yeah, you want it? Okay, thanks for letting me know. This is the hell, the future to avoid. I like the way he articulated it, so I'm going to read it out loud to frame what you guys were about to do. It can be very useful to deeply imagine the future you would like to avoid. You probably know people who have made very bad decisions, who end up in a life that nobody would want. You also likely have weaknesses yourself. If you let those get out of control, then you might also end up with a miserable, painful life. Most people know how their life could go downhill if they let it. Spend some time now thinking about what your life would be like if you failed to define or pursue your goals, if you let bad habits get out of control, and if you ended up miserable, resentful, and bitter. Imagine your life 3 to 5 years down the road if you failed to stay on the path you know you should be. Use your imagination. Draw on your knowledge of the anxiety and pain you have experienced in the past when you have betrayed yourself. Think about the people you know who have made bad decisions or remained indecisive, or who chronically deceive themselves, or other people who let cynicism, anger dominate their lives, where you do not want to be. Dream while you write and don't stop. Write at least until 15 minutes have passed and let yourself form a very clear picture of the undesirable future.
Are we applying this to the context of, do you want it to be specific to coaching or just life in general? So I feel like it could become really broad.
It's beyond coaching. It's also your life. There's that in it, your business and your money and but it's your life too. Okay?
Do you want us to almost talk about the underlying that will affect everything?
That's all right, because it's going to affect your business. That's certain. But particularly draw on the things that have been limiting you in how you show up as a health professional and coach, but please go beyond that, because you are a human first. For this, I encourage you all to find your own space. Outside, inside, in a bedroom, go downstairs, I don't care, okay? Find your space. I'm going to give you 15 minutes. It's helpful to have your own space because some of you may feel more comfortable to be vulnerable with yourselves. So find your space, move about, come back when you are done, go anywhere in this house, outside, I don't care.
On the previous slide, there were like prompts.
Are you going to share that in the Discord?
Yeah, let me share that in the Discord now for you guys to prompt you. I'll open it.